Welcome back. Having coffee with Cullotta. Don't forget, subscribe. The little thumb, put it on the button. You got to do it. I'm dependent on you people. I'm giving you a lot of information. God bless. Let's talk about Lefty Rosenthal. Again, people ask me, what did you think of Lefty? Personally, I didn't like him. He wasn't my type of a person. He looked like a skeleton walking around with white skin draped over it. He had no personality. I give him one thing. He was a good odds maker. He was the best. His father was better. That's where he learned it, all from his father. His father's they were originally from Chicago. They moved to Florida. And that's where Frank learned it all. And then his father died. And Frank became friends with Tony through Milwaukee Phil. Milwaukee Phil had the father tied up. Not tied up physically, but he had his father on the muscle. Now, the first day I met Lefty, I'm a little unsure of the year. It was 60 or 61. I'm at home. I remember the Ford. I had a Ford, a blue four-door Ford. Four-door. It was a fast car. So I get a call from Tony. He said, what are you doing? Tony was living in Elmwood Park at the time, right by the railroad tracks. He just got married to Nancy. He said, could you stop by here? I said, yeah, I was just leaving the house. I lived in the suburb out there. It was either Franklin Park or River Grove. So I drive down to his house. I park. They had parking along the railroad tracks. And I got out and I run across the street. He lived in a 6-flat apartment building. I tap on the door. Tony's wife opens up the door, Nancy. The smoke that come out of that apartment is probably why I got COP today. You thought a cloud was coming out of there. And I walked in and there's Tony and Lefty sitting at a table. It's the first time I ever seen Lefty. Tony introduced me to him. Lefty's sweating. House stinks. Tony says, Frank, you got to do me a favor. He said, I need you to drive this guy to the cab stand. Make arrangements with him for you to pick him up tomorrow. He's going to fly to Florida. He's going to come back. I believe the amount was $60,000. Tony was playing gin with him for 2 days and he beat him on a 60G. If that was his good friend, I wouldn't say he was too good of a friend to beat your own friend out of 60G. So I says, all right. So we go down to the car. Glad to get out of that house. It stunk so bad. We drive over to the cab stand, which is a few blocks away. So I made arrangements with this guy to meet him the following day or day after. And I would pick him up at the airport. I give him my number. We said very little except for that. 2 days come by, I don't hear from him. I tell Tony. Tony tells me, yeah. He said, I was just meaning to call you and tell you that he's coming in tonight and you don't need to pick him up. He's got my money. I says, okay. That's my first time meeting him. Now, had I seen him again after that? Maybe, 60, maybe 10 years later, 15 years later. We're in the jubilation, Tony and I. I know the deal. I'm connected now. I'm a made guy. I know what Lefty's functions are. I know what Tony's functions are. Had I seen Lefty? No. I know for a fact because Tony told me you don't need to be around Lefty. I got Joey Cusimano walking around with him, protecting him, showing we can't put a Chicago guy with him because we don't want anybody to know that we got him locked up. So I put Joey Cusimano with him. For some reason or another, Tony trusted this Joey Cusimano. I don't know, nor do I care. But I would have never used a guy from another city. So Joey was around Lefty all the time. And he said, stay away from him. He said, if something needs to be done, I'll tell you and then you could take care of it. I said, okay. And and I used to see him in the casino, but he had a lot of problems. So I avoided him in the Stardust. Who I did communicate with in the casino was Louis Salerno. He was the casino manager. He took the job that Lefty wanted. You know what? They put the right guy there, Louis. Lefty was a braggadocious, blowhard Jew. So I stood away from him. The next time I seen him, he was driving that Cadillac. And he had this, I don't know, pink suit that looked like a pink suit to me with a brown hat. He was at Tony Roma's, and he had people with him this time. And he was eating his ribs. He liked to go to this joint. He knew I was. No eye contact, nothing. Then I seen him in the Jubilation. Tony and I were in there. Not like in the movie where Tony says, look at this Jew. He don't say hello. He's not supposed to say hello to Tony or me. So he comes into Jubilation. Now with Oscar, he comes in there with Gene Cimarelli and a few other guys that work for him and some showbroads. And his old lady, Geri, the one he married. They sit at a booth. No acknowledgement. We don't give them any. They don't give us any. Am I upset? Is Tony upset? No. It's the way it's supposed to be. Unlike the movie. You know, movie, you exaggerate. Casino. So, the next time Lefty's name comes into my ears is when the Chicago outfit was asked to investigate him because they thought Lefty was a potential informant and Kansas City hated him. Kansas City wanted him dead. Chicago said, we can't do that. He's our point man. We'll investigate it. They said, well, who are you going to use to investigate it? And they said, the little guy. That means Tony. So they put Tony on it. I get a call from Tony. This I talk about on my tours. I meet Tony at a spot that I would normally never meet anybody. It's a 7-Eleven. We meet in the parking lot and we're talking with our hands over our mouth. Because at that time, we had agents following us 24/7 and lip readers. He says to me, are you up to whacking the Jew? I know what he means. And I know the Jew he's talking about. The only thing that comes into my mind is this guy fucking crazy? He wants us to kill Lefty because he's afraid once Lefty finds out that Tony's going to bed with his wife, he tells the Chicago outfit, Tony's dead. So he wants to react soon. So I said, Tony, I can handle it. Me and my crew. It's going to be a little hard. We'll have to roll up on him in the street and shoot him. No. I need 2 weeks. I'll set him up. When I set him up, you kidnap him from me. You'll bring him to the desert. Joey Hansen and Paulie. He said Joey and Paulie. I knew he was talking about. Joey Hansen and Paulie Sherrill. They'll already have dug a hole in the desert. You'll bring him there. Either you kill him or they'll kill him. They'll bury him, take his car, dump it at McCarran Airport. At that time, there was no cameras. Looked like Lefty blew the sack, left down. That's fine. A week later, I got to go back to Chicago to bring some money to the boss. One of the acting bosses, Joe Ferriola. I bring him the money. He sits me down and he asks me, have you been hearing rumors that Tony's gone to bed with the Jew's old lady? And I lied. I said, no, that's bullshit, Joe. He said, I knew you'd tell me the truth, Frankie. I know Tony's got more brains than that. That's when he liked Tony. When I got back to Vegas, I told Tony. And Tony asked me what I said, and I told him, and that was the end of that. Lefty was a government informant. Case closed with Lefty.
How about Geri?
I never talked to Geri. There's no reason why I should talk to her. The only reason why I talked to her is because she was looking for Tony. She came to my restaurant when she had that problems trying to get into the house to get her clothes and the key for the safety deposit box. She came to my restaurant and she says to me, "What are you doing here?" I said. She says, "The little guy told me that if ever I had an issue, that you were the only one that could find him." I said, "Sit down. Give me the keys to your car. Ernie, take your car, park it a block away." Ernie worked for us, Ernie Davino. I went to the payphone. Tony was right next door in the tavern. I said, "Tony," he said, "What do you call me? You're right next door." I said, "The Jew's old lady's here." He said, "Oh, hold her there for 15 minutes, then bring her next door." That's exactly what I did. That's when I found out that Tony was going to bed with her. That's the only time that I actually said words to her. Record's clear on that now.
One more question. Did the James Woods character, the pimp, did you guys really grab him and
No.
throw him in the car and beat the shit out of him?
That's not true.
Okay.
She had no pimp to start with. Let's clear the records. She wasn't a hooker. She was a show broad. She was a chip hustler. In other words, you had money, you were a high roller, you wanted a sharp run underneath your arm, you'd take her, he'd give you a nickel. He'd give her $500. She'd take $250 out of that money, put it in her purse. The rest she'd gamble, then she'd get him for another nickel. She'd make $1,000, $2,000 a night. That's all she was. The character that James Wood played, I want to tell you, James Wood's a hell of a man, a good actor, a smart man. He wasn't her pimp. He was her drug dealer. He was her connection for coke. It was a friend. She can't ask everybody in the casino. She got to have a friend. That's how you get exposed. That's the story on him. More zips in my coffee. I love my coffee. Chinda.